I know it's a Thursday and we generally do this segment on a Friday, but of course, with the latest news developments, we anticipate some other news that we'll be focusing on tomorrow. So we've brought it forward by one day. Msaki and Jesse Clegg, now they are set to drop their collaborative EP, Entropy, with the lead single Wayside Lover featuring Sjava already making waves. Now, this powerful partnership combines South Africa's top musical talents, and you'll hear it, and it of course blends genres to create something emotionally charged and so sonically stunning. And Wayside Lover masterfully fuses soul, Afro-pop and contemporary R&B, and it of course showcases Msaki and Jesse's unique artistry through poetic storytelling, also layered harmonies and stirring instrumentation. It's a beautiful showcase. I promise you, you're going to love it. It speaks to our diverse South African voices of harmonizing perfectly, pushing musical boundaries, and all of this while feeling timeless and fresh. And they're here, Msaki and Jesse. Thanks so much for coming through.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a very epic intro.
Because the two of you are epic. And thanks so much for coming through. Let's start with why you decided to do an EP as opposed to just doing a single.
Well, I think that we didn't actually have any intention to do anything, really. We just started making music and writing songs together. We became fast friends when we met a few years ago, and we were hanging out in studios, we were doing shows, and we live in musical lives. And so as we started spending more time together, these songs just emerged. So, it's been such a unique process, because at no point have me and Msaki sat down and said, let's make an EP together. The songs just came out.
Which is interesting, because that was one of the things that I wanted to ask you, how all of this came together, one, but also just the process. Did you sit and write individually and then come together, or did you come up with this jointly?
I'd say it's also just a byproduct of a friendship, and I've noticed very quickly that Jesse is very serious about songwriting, and it's probably the thing I'm most passionate about, and it just so happened that, some of the time that we spent together would be in studio, and even just somehow syncing some of our trips to write in LA, there was a lot of overlap, and so we found ourselves also just trying to share our contacts, the producers we knew, and the next thing we were writing with them, but not realizing that we're also writing our own EP. So it's been a nice surprise to have it culminate into a work that actually has a story that works.
And speaking of a story that works, Entropy. Now, I love words, and I looked at this and I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? How did you come up with that title, and what does it mean to both of you?
I think entropy, in terms of its definition, is the degradation of the universe and how matter changes and decomposes over time. So it's the acknowledgement of change, the acknowledgement of things. Things fall apart, but also it is part of life. It is part of that process, and how to engage with that fact, hopefully, and engage with that with aspiration, and still hold on to your sense of the future and your sense of what's coming next. So I think the album talks about those kinds of emotional tensions, something of letting go, something of holding on. And I think we had the word entropy before we even started writing the music. And so it's just kind of felt like this umbrella term that has kind of guided what the emotional landscape of the album is.
Yeah, for me, it's indicative of the time that we met. There was a lot of things that were sort of falling apart, and part of our friendship was, we were there for each other in that life moment where it feels like, maybe this person is also here to help you through that time. And so the music encapsulates some of those really hard moments, and also just the bravery to go to the parts that hurt, but somehow the music carries us through. So yes, it sounds a bit dreary that everything is decaying, but I think there's a beauty in also accepting that, with decay there's newness and there's hope, and somehow things get to regenerate. And if you trust in that, then there's always beauty alongside the abject. Yeah.
And of course, there's the creative product that unmistakably is fabulous, and we expect no less from the two of you. But you know, I've watched the two of you since you've come in. You know, I've looked at some of the pictures that we've put up as well, and this friendship here. Jesse said you guys became, you know, fast friends. But it seems as though there's more that's drawing the two of you to one another, because I'm not even sure how to explain it, but how would you explain your friendship?
Well, I'll say the day that Jesse called me, he was calling me about his dad's project. And he was saying that, you know, I don't know you, but I've heard your music. And if my dad is here, it would be amazing to see if we can, like, you know, I think you would have been one of the musicians that would have connected to the way that he tells stories and music. And I was very honored because Johnny Clegg was one of my favorite artists since I was a kid. Maybe one of the first artists that made me feel like music was something I was interested in pursuing. And so it meant a lot that came from him. But I think, you know, as soon as he came to my house to pick me up, we'll go into studio, the conversation went from, oh, how was your day, to, oh, I think you live 6 minutes away, to like the real things of life. So we got to the stuff of life really quickly. And I think, you know, there seems to be a generational connection as well that precedes us, but I don't know what you think. But obviously he feels like family.
Yeah, it's funny how, as Msaki said, like people enter your life in certain seasons, and it's like you're meant to meet that person in that moment. You were ready to meet them, and they were ready to meet you. And there was we were both under a lot of pressure. We were both dealing with loss. We were both dealing with a transitional moment in both of our lives and careers. And I don't know, we just found each other in that moment. And so the songs that came out for me are like a snapshot of a time and place where, you know, there was someone new entering my life, but I felt like I'd known them for many years before, and like we just had a lot in common. We both have kids. We both, you know, were going through this weird moment, and it just was like serendipitous.
And it comes across, you know, and even in the moments of silence, like there's just this comfort that you guys have, you know, with each other. But
this couch.
But moving straight along, you know, Wayside Lover and Sjava. Why Sjava? Why did you guys decide to bring him in?
Firstly, we
Jesse's
just
favorite
love
artist.
Sjava. I love Sjava so much.
His
He's like
favorite
one of
song-
my favorite artists ever.
His most played song on his Apple is Demo.
Exactly. And me and Sjava were actually working on another project together. And we were sitting in my studio, and I was like, bro, me and Msaki are working on these songs, and I don't know what you're going to think of this, but I'd love to just play it for you. And I played him the whole EP, and he was blown away. He was like, bro, this is unbelievable. I would love to. He actually said, like, let me do a verse on Wayside. So I was like, dude, we'd love that. And he was so sweet, and he brought so much. He was very intentional with what he wrote. He was really listening to the storyline that we were telling, and really listening to the emotional landscape that we were building. And he listened to the whole album before he came into the studio. So it's just so wonderful to work with artists that you have so much respect for, and also artists who just totally get the art. And just he came in and wrote that verse, you know, in a very short amount of time. He came and did the music video with us, which dropped yesterday.
Watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, video is out.
Okay.
So it's just been a wonderful connection. And I'm just a fan of his. So
So we're about to watch. But apart from Wayside Lover, which other track are you most excited for people to hear?
There's a song called, this is my personal favorite, it's called Cruel World for Meaning Junkies. And it gets to put together two things that Jesse's parents have said to him in different times. I've met his mom, Jenny, and she's hilarious in the way that she just talks about life in such a candid way. And she was saying, you guys are doomed for a life of pain because you're such meaning junkies. Everything means everything to you. You're going to be... She's like, you're destined to be in pain. You're just the same, Johnny, Jesse, you.
Yeah.
So she called us meaning junkies and called him a meaning junkie.
I like that, and I think it describes you perfectly. So I want to take the break so we can make time for the music. But before that, where can people, you know, see you guys perform?
yes, so we have our first collab show coming up on the 19th of October, playing at the beautiful Walter Sisulu Gardens. Tickets are via Ticket Pro, and it's the first time that we will be debuting the album. We're also going to be playing each other's songs. We're going to be collaborating and playing the songs that have built our careers. And yeah, lots of special collabs, lots of special reveals, and also a little bit of storytelling. And it's such a beautiful venue. Walter Sisulu Gardens, one of my favorite venues, and we just can't wait to bring this and share this with the world.
19th of October, the weather's beautiful here out on the Highveld, so if you're around, make your way there. Msaki and Jesse Clegg talking about the drop of their collaborative EP, Entropy.